Happy New Year, everyone. I'm Gino Buccola here alongside David Aragona. Before we head on over and talk about the cash run, we wanted to remind all of you about the Daily Racing Form New Year's sale right now happening all the way through January 6th. You can get 15% off everything in the DRF store when you use that coupon code NY2025. So, David, we will head on over to Gulfstream Park to talk about some newly turned 3-year-old fillies here in the cash run. It's a one-turn mile that we'll be previewing as we take a look at the field for race number 8 on Wednesday, January the 1st at Gulfstream Park. So looking at this group, Paradise City installed as the 9 to 5 morning line favorite. I'm not so sure that she necessarily is head and shoulders above the rest of the field. She did face the boys last time out. Just based on speed figures, you have a lot of horses in here who are kind of evenly matched. What was your overall thought of this group?
Yeah, it's definitely not the strongest edition of this race that we've ever seen. A lot of these fillies are going to have to get a little faster to really prove themselves to be stakes quality moving forward. Safi Joseph does have a strong hand coming into this race, obviously sending out that morning line favorite Paradise City, as well as the number 6 Andrea, who is among the more accomplished horses in this field, having already become a stakes winner in the second start of her career. But a lot of these horses are pretty evenly matched from a speed figure standpoint, so it's going to be interesting to see how they sort themselves out on the racetrack.
Okay, so in a race like this, we can use any help we'll get from our friends at Timeform US. Let's see what the pace projector looks like for this one. No surprise here. A lot of these horses have shown tactical speed, some positional speed, going a little bit shorter. Andrea was one of those horses who has legitimate sprint speed. Hasn't really been able to show it in the last couple as much, David. So I would be expecting them now on the stretch out to try to get aggressive with her and get her right back towards the front end.
Yeah, just got a little bit outrun through some quick opening quarter miles in the last couple of sprint races at 6 furlongs. But as you said, stretching back out to the mile, I would imagine she'd be quick enough to make the lead here if they really want to get to it. And the other Safi Joseph runner, Paradise City, is one that likes to sit more in mid-pack. So I think that they would like to have runners with 2 different running styles in this race. So Andrea probably making the front end, but others have tactical speed, like the number 7 Sweet Note and the number 3 Unchained Delane has been forwardly placed in almost all of her dirt races.
Let's meet this field inside to outside. We'll start with the number 1, 5G, who comes off a couple races on the grass. So distance isn't a problem for her. We saw her improve when she went a little bit longer, but she has to answer the dirt question, David, because her 2 best races both did come on the turf. So she'll make her third start of the form cycle right now, but getting back to dirt, she has to prove it on this surface.
In terms of pure talent, I'm pretty confident that she's the best horse in this race. I mean, she ran really well last time against Open Company in the Tepin. She is in New York bred, and she was stepping up into Open Company for that stakes race. And she ran really well at a decent price that day behind Laurel, a second-time starter for trainer Graham Motion, who I personally think has a lot of talent. And she made that filly work to the wire, only losing by half a length. She has improved with every start, but she really took that big step forward with the switch to turf. Her pedigree can go either way when you look at it in the first generation, her being by Vekoma, but you go back to the second dam, Star Arena, it's really turf pedigree there. And I get why they're switching back over. She must be training well in the dirt, coming off a bullet workout, but she still has to prove it to me that she can handle this surface in the afternoon.
And as you were pointing out at the beginning, it's not necessarily a race where anyone scares you off here either. So you take a look around at some of the horses you might be facing in here. Not a bad shot to take another chance on the dirt and to really see if this is a surface that they can get more out of her moving forward. Let's go to the number 2, Yellow, who comes off of a win last time out. That was at Gulfstream Park. She took 4 starts to break her maiden, 3 of them on the dirt. She actually is stakes placed when she finished second in the second race of her career in the sorority. But this was the most recent race, David, where she breaks her maiden. She sat off the pace a little bit. She had a fine start. She was sitting third, fourth, a couple lengths off. And then she made that big 3 wide move. Kind of drifts out a little bit here when she hits the front, but got the job done and beat a horse named Indeed, who came back to win a maiden special weight next out with a 66 Beyer speed figure.
Yeah, that's obviously a positive sign for maybe this race being a little better than the 56 Beyer that it received. Obviously, Yellow is just going to have to get faster. The good news is she clearly handles the distance. She's now got a mile on the dirt twice, most recently over this course with that 1-turn mile last time at Gulfstream, and did win. But as you said, I mean, just beating a horse that came back to run a little bit faster, but still has to prove that she can take that step forward against a field like this. She is bred to be a nice one. She's a half-sister to Chattelis, that grade 2 winning dirt router, but she's got a ways to come to match that sibling's accomplishments.
Number 3 is Unchained Elaine, who has 2 career victories, and both of them right here at Gulfstream Park. Her last 2 races on the main track were actually both victories. She won one going 7 furlongs last time out, and then a couple starts back, she wins on a muddy sealed track after taking a shot on the turf a few times. So, do you give Unchained Elaine a shot here with that good Gulfstream form?
Yeah, here's her last race. Actually, this was run on the same afternoon, the race we just looked at for yellow. Unchained Delane ran 3 races later in race 9, beating Allowance Company here. And I thought she did so pretty impressively. You could see coming through the final eighth of a mile here, she's pricking her ears forward and back, kind of looking around to see if her job is actually done. I mean, she was winning this race quite easily. She was just superior to the company that she was facing there. And if you kind of ignore all of her turf races, because she's run on turf 3 times at her 7 starts, and I think it's pretty clear at this point she's just not quite as good on the turf. She's finished off the board in all those races. She's actually been improving steadily on the dirt as they have gradually stretched her out in distance from 4.5 to 5 to 6, then to 7 furlongs last time, and she finished off the 7 furlongs pretty well. So I'm not too concerned about her getting the mile here, and she's got that good tactical speed where she should be able to pull a decent trip. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another step forward coming for her.
To it right by the 4-5 favorite in that last race too. I agree with you. I think she fits pretty well in here at a very fair price. The number 4, Paradise City, will be one of the top contenders in here. She'll take the blinkers off after taking a shot against the boys last time out. She was, always traveling pretty well, about 2 to 3 lengths off at most. Just not in a comfortable spot though. She did get room with dead aim and didn't really have a lot, but maybe a little bit of traffic early on. The Dam is a grade 2 winner, half to another grade 3 winner. I'm looking at her overall form, and her debut win is as good probably as any win that anyone has in here. I thought her last 2 races, while against tougher company, were a little disappointing. I just was expecting a little bit more in watching the races back from her, David. How do you think she'll stack up with this group?
Yeah, I kind of understand that sentiment because I really liked her debut. I thought she showed a lot of likable attributes that day, getting up close to the pace and really responding to pressure and finishing it off, dueling with the runner-up before pulling away at the end. Savvy Joseph actually entered her in the grade 1 Frisette after that and elected to scratch her. She would have been a big price in there, but targeted some softer spots thereafter. And I agree, she didn't really take that step forward from a speed figure standpoint. And to me, she looked in the debut like a horse that was going to relish at a distance. She hasn't necessarily shown that yet, but maybe she is just kind of learning her lessons. I do think she's getting minor class relief here because she was facing some pretty decent males last time. I think that horse that won the race, Cool Intentions, is actually pretty good and better than anything that's in this field. So I think Paradise City is landing in the right kind of spot. I just wonder what kind of price you're going to get with Irad Ortiz aboard going out for this barn. She'll probably be the favorite. I do think she can obviously win.
Yeah, she's, as you pointed out, she's been facing tough company last time. I think the horse that she faced that beat her last time, I might be coming back and running in the Mucho Macho Man, I think later in the weekend. Cool Intentions, yeah, is entered in that one. So we'll get a good look maybe at how strong that race really was. We'll move to the likely longest shot in the field. That's the number 5, Fallon, who's still a maiden here, David. Has shown some improvement in the last couple races, was 3rd against Maiden Special Weight Company last time out, but not all that much early speed, and still has to prove that they can get into the winner's circle before having to face Stakes Company. So to me, this one just seems a little bit overmatched.
Yeah, kind of tough to make a case for this one. She's a maiden coming in here who's never run remotely fast enough to be competitive with this group. Just looks like a horse that probably is overmatched.
And then we get to Andrea, who was really fast from the outside in her wins. And that's probably what we can expect from her in this race last time out. Just hasn't been able to get towards the front end in the last couple of races because she was facing some really fast company. 2 starts back was a couple lengths out. Last time out, just off a little bit. But I'm expecting them to go. And when you look at the horses that she's faced recently, David, one of them is named Echo Sound, who is 3 for 4. Most recently lost to a horse named Miss Worldwide, who's won the last 2 starts. So I think she's faced good company. And on the stretch out, I'm expecting them to be on the engine with her.
Yeah, she's likely to be in front, and based on her first couple of starts, she looks as talented as anybody in this field, winning both of those races by large margins. I just wonder if she's a horse that's really gone on since the summer with her development. You watch her races, she looks a little small and underdeveloped compared to some horses she's running against, and I feel like she was just the precocious sort that maybe hasn't taken that next step forward, and I think that's kind of shown up in her last couple of results.
We round out the field with the number 7, Sweet Note. She'll put the blinkers on after being well defeated by a horse named Bookham. Bookham has won 3 in a row, won that race by 11 lengths, earned an 89 Beyer speed figure when winning that race. We already saw the 5th place finisher from that race come back to win an optional 62 non-winners of 2 at Turfway by 4.5 with a 71 Beyer speed figure. Sweet Note's debut race, I thought was pretty impressive, David. Was fast, backed off to sit third, and then went right on by when angled around. Then last time out, broke a bit outwards, was fine, settled fourth, a couple lengths off, was traveling well, and then moved right up into contention. But when that horse Bookham kind of kicked into another gear, everyone was left in the wake. I feel like this is another good spot, though, for Sweet Note, drawn to the outside. Maybe can sit off a little bit. The blinkers give a little more focus. How do you think she fits in this group?
Yeah, I think nobody was going to get close to that winner last time, the way she came home so quickly. I mean, the final quarter was running 24 and 1. That's really moving for 2-year-olds going a mile. So Sweet Note was kind of, as you said, left in the dust. But I thought she finished up okay for her first try going the mile. And now she's got that route experience under her belt. So trying the mile again, I won't be surprised when she's able to finish a little better. Interesting that Brendan Walsh does add the blinkers this time. So maybe she'll be a little bit more aggressive from the outside post. And feels like one off her Cup 2 starts that does still have some upside, so I would not be surprised to see a step forward.
There's our field of 7 for the cash run, $165,000 stakes race on New Year's Day at Gulfstream Park. Let's take a look at the selections for this one, David. Who are you going to put on top for here?
Unchained Elaine has had more experience than really anybody else in this field, but most of those starts, or at least 3 of them, came on the turf. I feel like she's just a better dirt horse, and I like her progression on the dirt, and she feels like the type with tactical speed that can make her own good trip, and I don't think she has to improve that much on her last race to be right there at the end.
In a race where I thought they were all pretty evenly matched, I'll take a little bit of a stand against the heavy favorites. So I'll probably put Paradise City right into the winner's circle there. But I thought you could make cases for a few others, like Sweet Note from the outside could offer you more value. Even a horse like the 3, Unchained Elaine, who you have, I put in the 3rd spot. I think the speed of Andrea makes sense. Then you got the wild card of 5G, who I agree with you might be the most talented. Can they transfer any of that over to the dirt? We'll find out on Wednesday at Gulfstream Park. However you're playing them, we wish you the best of luck.